and welcome to Spoilery Talk. I'm actually going to go about 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes without any spoilers. Um, I remember the first time I was familiar with Into the Spider-Verse. The first time was 1999 or 2000. Maybe it was 1999 because that's when they were wrapping up a lot of the Fox Kids stuff. They were changing formats, I think, for Fox Kids to Fox Box, or I don't know what they were doing. But they were changing a lot of formats for Saturday morning cartoons. Now, the first time I remember Spider-Man was obviously the 1960s cartoon, 67, and then the 70s cartoon, do, 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 do. And there was the 70s with Spider-Woman and Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. It's on NBC Saturday mornings. Then Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and then the 94 cartoon. The final episodes of the 94 cartoon showed Madam Web, not Doctor Strange. Madam Web was the one that helped Spider-Man go into the Spider-Verse with different Spider-Men. I remember one was consumed by the symbiote, and his Uncle Ben was still alive, but he was consumed by the anger he had with the symbiote. I'm not sure if his Aunt May died and not Uncle Ben. I'm not sure what was going on. It was a nice moment between our Spider-Man, our 94 Spider-Man, and Uncle Ben. And so what they were trying to do was find Mary Jane because the real Mary Jane was still alive and the other one was a clone. It was some other thing. It was a weird story. But that was the first time I saw multiple Spider-Men. And then we've seen like you've seen like Justice League, Justice Lords, and the cartoons, or you would see the Ninja Turtles meet their doppelgangers, or I don't know, Star Trek, J.J. Abrams, they tried a new universe. They tried different things. We've seen Shattered Dimensions, which was for the Xbox 360, the Nintendo Wii, I think, and the PS3, which I think is still available on the Valve store, the only Spider-Man game that's allowed to be up there. So those games, like that introduces it, and then, of course, Into the Spider-Verse in 2018. So you'll have to pardon my old man buzzkill of I've seen all this before and I'm trying to be a nice guy, but that's why I cannot give this movie a 9 or a 10. Like I would Ghostbusters, you can count on one hand the number of Ghostbusters movies. So that's, it's like 3 movies, right? So with Spider-Man, there's a lot of Spider-Man movies now. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into spoilers. Let's go into spoilers. So in case you didn't know, Aunt May dead, Aunt May gone. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 400. This is where she did learn about Peter's secret, and she held that secret all these years. But of course, we're talking about the Marissa Tomei, right? The Marissa Tomei Aunt May, not this one. This old Betty's gone, But she came back by Mephisto. I don't know if that'll ever happen here. I knew when she was standing there. I knew that when she was standing there talking to Peter, but she was like, I'm still hurt, right? Now, here's the funny thing. I'm going to tell you a little bit of drama, too. I missed the first 20 minutes of this movie because I didn't keep track of the time. I didn't realize. I blanked. I thought my showtime was 4 o'clock and not 3 o'clock. So I had to kind of do a little bit of cheating and look up some scenes where, you have Aunt May and her Feasts charity organization where she's feeding the homeless or feeding the hungry, right? And then you'll have J. Jonah Jameson reveal the secret, and then everybody's gathering around Mary Jane, or not Mary Jane, Melissa Jones, as she's called, MJ, this Mary Jane. I'll call her Mary Jane because what can I tell you, right? So MJ and Spider-Man or Peter Parker, everybody knows their secret, and so I try to see as much as I could of that. And then you've got the woman of color, ethnicity, who wants to get Peter and his friends a scholarship for college. So up to the Doc Ock stuff, I didn't see in the theater. I was running late. And I had to take a piss break when this particular scene came up between the Spider-Man. So they were talking about symbiotes and stuff. And we'll get into all that other stuff. But yeah, I missed a significant part of the movie about the setup. So when I came in, Dr. Octopus was already fighting Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and he realized that this is not the Tobey Maguire. So we'll get into that too. Um, but yeah, this is the beginning stuff I didn't see, but I had to look it up online somewhere to look at the beginning scenes where we set up. So basically, the setup is that Peter Parker wants everyone to forget that he was, to keep his identity secret, but only a few people can tell. So he's fucking up Doctor Strange's magic. Way to go! And so instead of doing what Peter Parker wanted, now everybody knows his secret. But not only that, it introduced other universes. So Doc Ock shows up. There's a freeway fight scene that I'm not too aware of, just the end part of it. He saves the what is it, the teacher's life or whatever she is, a teacher, a principal, or dean, to get admitted to a college. So this is the beginning stuff that I missed a lot of. And of course, why you have to know that the other two Spider-Man were showing up. First, I saw like Andrew Garfield. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I'm surrounded by millennials who are like, oh my god, oh this is great, oh my god. Like, okay, I just want to see. Let me see Toby. Don't dance. I don't know if there was a joke in there about Toby dancing in the movie, but if there was, when I was taking a piss, I really had to take a piss. So I took a piss when the three Peters were talking amongst each other, when I knew they were setting up for the final battle between like the Sandman and Electro and everybody, and before Peter had to tell Doctor Strange, hey, you know what? Let's just make everybody forget, everyone in every universe, which would screw up Peter's love life, wouldn't it? I don't know. I mean, you would think that Tobey Maguire's Peter and Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane, they got married in their universe. Who knows? That's what I would think. That's what I would like to believe. Now, this is the scene where the geometry scene where he uses geometry and logistics to outsmart Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange eventually comes back. And it's that I love that scene because more, almost as much. I mean, obviously we have to love the three Spider-Man coming together, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe coming back, Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman. I forgot who the Lizard is. Jamie Foxx is Electro. A lot of other things. There's a Rhino cameo near the end. Just all the other universes clashing in. But this whole battle between Peter Parker and Doctor Strange is very well done. I just like the conflicts between the heroes more than the heroes. Because heroes and villains, you kind of go to sleep on that, right? Mom and dad go to sleep on that. It's like they've seen this before, right? I mean, the first time they've ever seen it, maybe like Superman and the, Zod and Ursa and Non or whatever, they, fighting the Phantom Zone criminals in Metropolis. You see the heroes beat up the bad guys, and it's amazing, right? Because you've never seen that before. That was like the first time you see heroes and villains clash, right? And it was done on wires. But when you see two heroes fighting, like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker kind of thing, it's always interesting because then you think, if these two good guys are fighting, how do they get out of this? But it was not like a hatred thing. It was more like he's being a bit irresponsible. But he has to remember his Aunt May, and on her deathbed, oh, there's Zendaya. She's still hot. Hope Tom Holland doesn't screw it up with her. Don't screw that up. And of course, at the end of this, she doesn't remember Peter. I mean, it's weird because the way the spell was cast, she remembers Peter. She doesn't remember Peter as Spider-Man, but she doesn't remember Peter at all either. So it's kind of a reboot of things. So I think he understands the responsibility he has, but he lost his aunt. And I think the thing is that before she died, because she didn't even know she was dying. But I kind of guessed that by the way Marissa's acting, that this was the standing up death scene. Like, we've seen so many death scenes where somebody immediately falls over and dies. But it was like she's standing up, she's having a conversation, but she's not going to make it. And it was like one of those, it was the first time I've ever seen a standing up death scene. But of course she has to fall over because that's just kind of how death scenes work. But she doesn't even know she's dying. And she tells him, you got to keep doing the good work. So what happens is Doctor Strange screwed up the spell, and instead of Peter Parker having anonymity, but for his friends, everybody knows he's Spider-Man, so other villains come to Spider-Man's universe, the Tom Holland universe, to cause trouble. And so Doctor Strange rounds them all up, and they realize, or the Tom Holland Peter Parker realizes that these people die in their own worlds. So Doc Ock is dead. I think Electro is dead, and the Lizard, Sandman is gone. The Green Goblin definitely dead. And what happens is that Doctor Strange is going to send them back to their fates. Unfortunately, Peter Parker has never met the Flash, Barry Allen. How would he, right? Because if he had, he would learn that when you try to change the fates of things, then somebody always pays. For Barry Allen, it was his mother. For Peter Parker, and they might have taken a cue. I think they might have stolen a little bit here from Barry Allen, just a little bit, because you'd see what happens to May. You know she was not going to survive. Okay, and I thought that I was right in predicting that Mary Jane wouldn't be, or Melissa Jones wouldn't be saved by Peter Parker, but Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. So in a way, I was right, but she's still alive. Because you're not going to kill Zendaya off. I'm surprised also Zendaya hasn't sung anything like for Spider-Man movies. I thought they would have probably tried to do that, but maybe she doesn't do movie tracks. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I mean, you figure she could, but she doesn't. Or maybe she has. If I'm wrong, correct me. But I don't think she has sung anything for the movie. Do you think they would try to get her to sing something? So this is the final scene. And I took my piss break. I was like, fuck. And this is the freeway scene. This is where, he's got this new suit. This is the one that Tony Stark gave him. Here we got shattered dimensions there. This is where people know his secret, and he's trying to get her away. There's the Fortnite stuff, ridiculous. This is a different suit. I thought it was kind of silly that he had his phone taped to his chest, and all his friends could watch him as he takes on Electro. I thought that was kind of ridiculous, but whatever. It's whatever works. These are the different Easter eggs, little things you find in the trailer. Obviously, the first time that Doc Ock meets Tom Holland Spider-Man. This scene I'm familiar with already, but where he goes to the woods. But yeah, I missed the first 20 minutes because I blanked out, but that's okay. You know what else happened? I'll tell you what else happened. So I'm watching the last scene with Zendaya. She doesn't remember that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, or she doesn't remember Peter Parker at all. And they were having this last conversation where she's got his coffee ready. She's put the coffee in the cup and everything, or she's about to make his coffee. And then the lights come back on. The movie stops. The movie stops, and we get a fire drill alarm in our theater, a fire drill sound. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is this shit? And this was during the first showing, right? This is the first showing of Spider-Man. So, if you're not one of the privileged YouTubers who got free goodies to see it early, okay? If you're like me and you saw it on Thursday instead of Friday, so I'm having this problem with the alarm. So everybody okay, this is a fire drill. It's like, why is there a fire drill right now? Okay. I'm like, this is kind of stupid. So we were all about to walk out, but then they said, no, everything's fine. So we finished the movie, but there was a break. There was a 5-minute break in between finishing that last scene with Zendaya and Tom Holland and then going back to that scene. So there was some drama between me being 20 minutes late, not watching the initial scenes where everybody knows that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and then taking a piss break because I couldn't hold it in anymore. I had to piss out like a gallon, okay? And missing out on gossip between Tom, Andrew, and Toby about supervillains. I don't know if they were talking about Toby's terrible dancing, but if that was in there, I apologize. I hope that was in the movie somewhere. She's cute. Look at that. That's great. Movie download. Yeah, good luck finding a false download there. Good luck with that shit. Anyway, I do like this picture, but Yeah, good luck trying to bootleg that. Disney will come after you. And then you see this stuff and too big of a secret. Yeah, you got the lizard here. So there's a lot of different things that were happening. But I mean, in place of Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, I think Doctor Strange. I think Benedict did a very good job being the father figure. He is the father figure. I mean, you got to have a father figure, somebody who knows about time and realities. And by the way, so there's a post credit scene that was stupid as fuck. Okay, because I like Tom Hardy. I like him as Venom. I have the first movie, but he doesn't. I'm going to spoil this to disappoint you. The two Toms do not meet. The two Toms do not meet. It would have been nice if they had met. That would have been great. I don't know. I think they don't want to tip anything, but it's like, come on. Everybody wants the two Toms to meet up, and maybe there'll be something. You know, like even if the two don't like it could be an awkward conversation where Tom knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, that Eddie Brock knows this, but he doesn't say anything or whatever. It could be anything, but it was just so stupid. It was so dumb. So that happened, and then the post credits was a trailer to show off more Doctor Strange. It was kind of like James Bond will return, so Doctor Strange will return. I might see it. I might see the new Doctor Strange movie. We're gonna see Wanda. So most of the Phase 4 stuff has been on Disney Plus with the WandaVision, Winter Soldier and Falcon, Loki, Hawkeye, but we've only seen like maybe 2 or 3 movies here that are in theaters. So this is where, of course, they talk to Dr. Octavius. The whole you're from this universe banter back and forth between the villains and stuff, that kind of gets annoying. I kind of hated it. I mean, just seeing Andrew Garfield first before Tobey Maguire was like, what the fuck was this about? Anyway, so more the same. And of course, like this is the first time I missed this scene, but you know, I got to see some of the movie clips I didn't get to see in the theater, so I kind of know what's going on. You know, the only thing I missed really was the setup and the opening titles and everything, but that was about it. He screwed this up. Now this is, of course, the final battle, and he almost kills Norman Osborn, but you know, you have to remember your Aunt May, you know, before she died, she told Peter, you know, you gotta, instead of taking these villains and sending them to their deaths, he risked Aunt May's life so that he could cure these villains. He could take away, all he could really do is take away their powers. But I think Dr. Octopus, Dr. Otto Octavius was the first to be healed. And, you know, they healed the rest. That's one of the biggest highlights. Besides the fact that Doctor Strange and Spider-Man fought each other, and then Tobey Maguire and between the Spider-Men, was that besides the multiverse shock and awe and sort of the shock value of multiverse stuff, it was the fact that Tom Holland definitely genuinely wanted to heal all these villains and do the best he could for them. So he almost killed the Green Goblin, but Tobey stopped him. And he almost got killed. Tobey almost got killed too. But I guess for some strange reason he can be healed because he's got spider strength, I guess. Not much more to say. There's clues in the scenes and the trailers. This does not happen. We want it to happen. I mean, even if it was just the two Toms, not in costume, just sitting there having a talk, you know, for some reason, it could have been like Peter Parker's going somewhere, and maybe, let's say he goes and works out, right? Let's say he just goes to a gym or a Bally Fitness and works out, and he sees Tom Hardy, and it's like, oh my God, here we go. And it's like, and it could have been a scene that doesn't have a lot to it. They don't fight, but they're there, and now they've made first contact, and it's like he walks away, kind of thinking, oh yeah, Eddie Brock's kind of creepy, isn't he? And Eddie Brock's going to keep an eye on this guy, which he is doing, but I wish the two had met. God damn it. So this is where he's, you know, MJ knows the secret, and he's trying to figure out what can he do, and, you know, what are the consequences of his actions. This is the video game. There's the suit. Now, of course, the mask is taken off, and I kind of like the new Green Goblin costume. Anyway, my final thoughts is see it. Don't be too overwhelmed. I think the breakthrough movie was Into the Spider-Verse, even though that was a cartoon. To me, I it's kind of strange like that. I don't know. I see this movie as a sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. Does that make sense? And even Electro, Jamie Foxx makes a reference to Miles Morales in one form or another. But and this is the device that has to be used to send the villains back home. But yeah, poor Aunt May. That was it. So what can we end on? Is there an Aunt May picture? This is something else. There's no Aunt May picture. There is the Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, this nonsense. That's Andre. He liked the movie. He says, go see the movie. Don't watch for spoilers, but I don't give a shit. The secret comes out. There is no Aunt May picture, so I'm going to leave that here. Go see the movie. Decide if you think it stands the test of time. I think it holds. I think it will always be in second place to Into the Spider-Verse. Because Into the Spider-Verse, you can watch that movie and not have to be too invested with watching other movies. This one, you're going to have to kind of watch the next one to get a feel of the multiverse stuff. I mean, I have a funny feeling they're going to make a multiverse trilogy. This movie, Doctor Strange, and whatever else comes out. Maybe they'll bring back the Fantastic Four in some form. Who knows? Anyway, Excelsior, Thwip, and all that stuff.